Hello everyone, welcome to part 1 of my series on creating Blackwork with WinStitch. If you don't have WinStitch but want to try it, you'll find a link in the description. In this video, I'll show you how to create 3 different types of patterns using basic WinStitch functions. In the next video, we'll use these 3 patterns to start a gallery of swatches that you can use in your designs. The first thing we need to do is set up our design area. So I've allowed myself here 200 by 200 stitches, which is more than adequate for what we need to do at the moment. I've got DMC 445 selected, which is light lemon, but you can use any colour. So what I'm going to do first is go to the Shapes tool, select Hollow Rectangle / Square, and I'm going to outline my swatch. So I drag the square across. And if you notice, I'm using these black grid lines as a guide. So what I want is for these black grid lines to intersect at the center of my swatch. That'll make it easier to place the patterns in the right place. And each swatch is going to be 24 by 24 stitches. That's a good size. It enables me to see how a motif will look when repeated several times. But you can have any size swatch you like. So now that my swatch is outlined, I'm going to create a very simple block repeat pattern using the copy and paste function. Firstly, I'm just going to make it a little bigger. I'll zoom into 80%. And then I'll select black, and I'll be using the backstitch function, which is here. And on the side, outside of my swatch area, I'm just going to create my little motif. And I want to do this stitch by stitch. Now suppose you accidentally make a mistake in this, like say you go there for example, you just right click on the stitch and it will erase it, and you can continue. Right, so that's now created. I'm just going to select it. And in case I want to use it in future projects, I'm going to save it as a motif. So I'm going to save it as windmill. Right, now I can copy it and create my design. So first what I want to do is put it in the center, because that means that it should be even on all sides. So I'm going to place it there, and then I'm just going to repeat it and repeat it, and then you've got a nice little row of windmills, and this is a block repeat. What I can do is copy this row and just paste that. And there you have a 24 by 24 swatch of little windmills. Now onto my second pattern. So what I'm going to do is move along a little, and I'm going to draw out my swatch area again. And I'm going to use this area this time. So I'm going to, again, using the black grid lines as a guide, just draw out my square. And now I'm not going to draw out my second motif. What I'm going to do is going to load it from the motif gallery, because I've already saved it. So I go down to motifs, and here I can see the different motifs that I've got in my collection. So I'm going to use the hexagonal lozenge. It's basically just a little 6-sided shape. And I'm going to repeat that so that it's tesselated. And what that means is that it's all fitting together so that there are no gaps. As you can see in this one, there are gaps in the previous windmill one in a block repeat, but this isn't going to be a block repeat. This is going to be tessellating. So first of all, I want to place my shape in the center. And I'm just going to go like this to create a row. You can always undo it if you make a mistake. And then just continue. And now you see that there's some of the shape outside of the swatch area, but that's okay. That's why I've outlined it in yellow, so I can easily see. And now I've got my little row of hexagons. In fact, what I'm going to do is just add a couple more to the sides. And you'll see why. Just going to copy this. Like that. So each row slots into the row just below it. Now you'll see that it's also taken with it the yellow cross stitches. That's okay. That's why I used cross stitch rather than backstitch for my outline. So what I'm going to do is just tidy up the yellow area a bit. I'm going to select a really big cross stitch brush and holding my finger down on the right hand side of the mouse, I'm just going to delete the yellow. And yes, the back stitches will disappear, but they will reappear really quickly. I've accidentally taken out too much. So I'm just going to fill in that gap again. So then we have a nice tidy area. Now what I'm going to do is just erase the back stitches that are outside of my swatch. So I just select it and erase. Now that's deleted the cross stitch as well. So I'm just going to undo that. And I'll show you how to actually do it. You select the back stitch and then erase back stitch from this area. Not this one, not just erase, because that'll erase the cross stitch. Erase back stitch from this area and it's gone. And I'm going to do the same on the bottom. And it's gone. Now on the sides you've got to be a bit more careful because you've got these vertical stitches going down the side. They will get erased when you erase the back stitch and you'll have to redraw them. So what I do is I just go one stitch away on both sides. And then I'm going to delete the stray stitches individually. So not these not these vertical ones, just these diagonals that are in the yellow area. And done. And there you have your little hexagonal lozenge swatch. So for the third pattern, I'm going to show you how to flip and rotate your motifs. So let's go to our motifs gallery, and this time I'm going to choose the booty motif that I created earlier. Now I'm not going to put it in the center like this, I'm going to put it in the center like this. And what I'm going to do then is select it and flip this left and right, and it'll only flip what you've selected. So I'll do that, and I can place it like that. And then what I can do is select both of them and then flip this area upside down. So there you've got quite a pretty little motif of 4 booties all together. So I'm just going to repeat that. I'm going to select it, copy, and paste. And it will be a little big for my swatch, but that's okay because I can erase the spare stitches. Just want to fill that white area. And so again, I'm just going to zoom out a little. Going to erase all that's in the yellow and beyond. I'm just going to tidy up those stray stitches that landed in the other swatch. And there we have a pretty little pattern. Now to make it more interesting, what I'm going to do is add a second motif. So I've got here a little eyelet. And I'm just going to place that in the center. And also half an eyelet will end up in the blank space here, and then the rest will be outside of the swatch in this case. So I'm just going to place those round. And just tidy it up.